Welcome, guys. This is your host, Giuseppe, co host Ryan here to episode 18. And as you can tell, we did a major upgrade to our setup. So we went away with that real shitty DSLR camera. And instead of a Shure SM7B, I'm going to be using these built in laptop speakers with a set of AirPods. So the quality should be really up for you guys. So we're pretty excited about this right here.
This is a big move for
Ryan
us.
appears to be stuck in the past. A little archaic with his setup. He has that mic been around? Didn't Michael Jackson use that?
Well, I like my analog things. I'm a little bit of a hipster when it comes to sound quality, so I'm not as up to date as the other MacBook users of the world, but I think it's okay. I think at least if one of us has the upgraded setup, we're good. We're doing fine.
Oh, it's news to me though, because I always took you for a file, but not necessarily an audio file. But that's for another episode. So if we're
fuck off. I heard when you said
Ryan,
file, I was like, I thought you meant like a file on a desktop. You're like, I always took you for a file.
Yeah, no, that was a really deep Lane reference. A file.
So, I guess we should explain why we're doing this.
Yeah, so I'm in town in San Diego. As you guys know, I talk about it pretty often. I do a monthly trip out here, and this one was a little spontaneous, so we didn't necessarily have an episode prepared for everybody. So we thought, hey, we'll step it up a bit, the quality. So instead of just doing it last minute when I get back, doing this setup right now, but it works. Ryan is back in the homestead, as you can tell.
As you can tell from my cat food behind me. I'm home, baby.
He's now the ex-birthday boy. We talked about the last episode. He had a wonderful experience, just what anyone would want on their birthday, working a full shift and
anybody turning 28 wants on their birthday.
Which is nothing. They just want to go back.
Yeah, fuck that. Well, so you went to California. I know you haven't been there too long, but you said you got Korean barbecue last night. You got pretty drunk, and from the sound of it, you drank a lot.
Yeah. So, I went to a Korean barbecue, and it was. I'm talking to myself, by the way. I'm alone in this room. But, there were six of us, and we passed around 5 bottles of soju. So I was throwing back the majority of it, and one other dude there, and just look at each other. Everyone's like, "Oh, we're done. We're done." There's that little call button. I'm like, "Oh, done, huh?" Click. I'm like, "Hey, peach soju." They're like, "Yes, this is like you do this every 10 minutes, But pretty twisty there, and then we were hanging out with this couple, friend of my girlfriend, and he picked up some Topo Chicos, and he had whiskey, so we took like 5 shots each over a game of Uno.
Oh, hell yeah.
4 or 5 Topo Chicos, a couple like Filipino beers. They're pretty lit that I said we'd throw on the channel eventually. They're like 9%. And at that point I was just like doing characters every time with Uno. Like Yu-Gi-Oh is an obvious one,
Yeah.
I did Kirito for a bit pretty terribly, but you can imagine enough drinks in anybody's Kirito, right? So
yeah. Oh yeah. Once I get a couple drinks in me, I am Kirito, solo player, not talking to anybody, just grinding. Very definitely. Hold on one second. I'm gonna. Oh, hold on. We're doing this on the fly. There we go. I just moved you over a little bit so you're a little more centered so we can see your beautiful face. Beautiful. Okay. I feel like we've had this conversation before, but my memory sucks, and this will be a good example. Can you explain to me what soju is? Because it's a popular drink, and it's one of those ones where like you drink a lot of it, in Korean barbecue and stuff. You drink a lot of it, and you're sitting down, and it's like low percent, so you think you're good, it's going down easy, and then a lot of people, when they stand up, they're just fucked. It's an easy drink.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know what it is.
Soju, this is a very inaccurate description, but I feel like for a lot of people that are absolutely not familiar, I will compare it to say it's like between sake and vodka, kind of on the spectrum there. So it's a distilled spirit, and what's very interesting, I haven't checked like any of the data recently, but I think it was like 2019. It was the best-selling spirit worldwide, every country.
Yeah.
Soju is popping off. It's almost like a cleaner tasting vodka in some sense. It's weaker, so I think that's where it kind of lends itself to tasting a little cleaner, not as astringent. But you're looking at like, kind of like wine numbers, like 17 to 20%. Like think of just like a Weenie Hut Junior vodka, but like when you add a little fruit flavor to that, man, it smacks. It goes down way too easy, and that's why it's so dangerous, because it's
But
gonna
I
be
think
stronger
it's
than sake.
it's a similar concept to the Topo Chico argument of like it's not really that high percent, but it's so easy to drink that you're just throwing them back that you're gonna get a lot more fucked up. Because like if you have a 9%, you're only gonna drink like 2 or 3 of them slowly over the course of a couple hours. But with something like soju or a seltzer, you can throw back 10 of them as fast as you want.
Yeah, it's relatively popular to have it in shots, but the dangerous part is I feel like soju's the one liquor, quote unquote, that like if you have like a flavored one like peach or lychee or mango, like you could drink it out of the bottle and chug it like you would a seltzer, but it's like 17%.
Oh yeah. And I think another big thing of what makes it so popular is it's, I don't know, just from the very few things I've seen is that in Korea, they have that kind of drinking culture of like they'll pour the drink for you and people just drink long periods. And like if somebody pours you a drink, you're drinking it. You can't do the thing I do everywhere I go when someone pours me a shot of whiskey and I'm like, no, I'm not taking that. I refuse.
Right.
So having something low percent like that, like you get that interact. I don't know. I feel like it's good to drink with other people, because you can take shots. Definitely. You can have the fun of taking shots, the camaraderie of the situation you're in with everybody, but you get more. Like if you were to get a normal liquor and be taking shots like that, like it'd be 30 minutes and you'd have people passing out at the table. But with something like soju, I feel like it lends very well to the fun of drinking with other people.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And I looked it up. It's I guess soju is traditionally made from grains of rice, wheat, or barley.
Okay.
Modern producers often replace rice with other starches such as potato and sweet potato. So I mean, sake is like a rice wine, right? So this is just...
Yeah, so sake is a rice wine, and I suppose like, yeah, if you're having the wheat or potato, that's where the comparison lends itself to like vodka. I could see that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's typically like the rice, wheat, and barleys. Although this just quick little Wikipedia article says it can go up to 53% alcohol. You imagine? You imagine?
Yeah, I haven't.
That would probably be closer to vodka.
Yeah, that's probably the closest you're gonna get.
And I think it's only natural to ask you. I see you're drinking something that looks like a tall boy, but it's probably a liquid death.
Yeah. It's funny because I'll drink these at work sometimes. I'll be cutting someone's hair and be like, oh, hold on a second, go take a drink. And they're like, bro, really? You drinking right now? I'm like, dude, it's liquid death. Yeah,
it's water. That's how all the ads, though, that I hear go. It's like, have you seen those tall boys in the water section?
Yeah.
Liquid death. I'm drinking Coors Light because it was $10 for a 12-pack of these bad boys.
Wait, that's a light? I thought it was a banquet.
Oh, I just said Coors. Dude, my bad. Coors Light to me is just the name of the brand.
the name of Coors.
Yeah, it's the name of Coors.
For beer, can you hand me a Coors Light? It's like a PBR. Thanks for the Coors, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty much. Coors Light is more often, in my brain than Coors Banquet. Like I don't know, Coors Banquet. Yeah. I didn't know. It took me a long time to know that they made non-light Coors.
You thought it was just like Michelob Ultra? I think the same thing, bro. I never heard of like
Yeah.
just give me like a Coors, you know?
Like it's like Kirin and Kirin Light. Could you imagine if there was Michelob and Michelob Ultra? It's like when you say, "Hey, bro, grab me a Michelob." It's like there's only the one. But imagine if they
At
had
that
like
point,
a
just ask for if you're asking for a Mickey, that's the regular. Michelob
oh,
Ultra, that's the
oh
light.
God, a Mickey? Are you talking about the malt liquor?
Yeah.
Oh my God, fuck. You know, I'm pretty
So,
sure that's made by Coors.
really?
Yeah, because I bought a Mickey's baseball tee in Golden, Colorado years ago when I went there. They had Mickey's merch. It's also
In
Blue
case you
Moon and
really want
shit.
people to know if
Yeah.
the brown bag and bottle wasn't enough
Well, you know
on
me,
the
that was
shirt.
my whole image at the time. I'd show up places
Yeah.
with 240s of Mickey's. That's how people knew me.
Hey, it's Mickey hands.
Oh my God, dude. I
You call him
did
that. He has
I
Mickey in
did
every hand.
I did Edward 40 hands with 240s of Mickey's, and that's probably
Oh
the
god,
worst night of my life.
that sounds terrible,
Yeah. It's
but
fucking
fun at
awful.
the same time.
I don't know how I ever like tried to convince myself or other people that I liked Mickey's.
Yeah,
Like I was
I don't know. It was kind of like the dirt bag steez. Like at least like I remember like skate culture too. It was just cool to always skate around with a 40 ounce.
yeah.
Like it's like hydrating or something.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. It's just I feel like it was the one that stood out. It had that nice green bottle, like the way the bottle was and everything, and you know the Mickey's B little logo and stuff. I don't know. It was more attractive to me than King Cobra and Steel Reserve.
You know, I always had a soft spot for Old English, but um, yeah, Steely and Cobra just looked low class. But if you had like a Mickey's or an Old English, you're like, oh, that's it's
Yeah.
like the classy malt liquor.
I tried to swap Mickey's out with Old English because I was like, oh, I'd prefer to, drink these 40s just because if you tell somebody or show up with an Old English, like I felt like that was more, it was just better,
Yeah,
But I couldn't do it. The taste of Old English, like Mickey's was still preferable to me. I mean, they all taste like metal, but Mickey's had a certain like tinge of like, that's not the worst malt liquor I've had.
yeah.
And now they've really got it figured out because when I think you were the one that told me that Topo Chico is malt liquor just with like soda water. It's just like carbonated
Yeah.
malt liquor. Like they really figured it out. You just have to mix it with water to dilute it, and it actually tastes pretty good.
That's the thing, and like, I think because they almost market it to seem like, oh, it's like a vodka soda.
Yeah.
Some are made with vodka, like High Noon, and I know Smirnoff has their vodka seltzers, but like most of them, yeah, malt liquor.
I mean,
I can't tell the difference.
they're not doing it wrong. All the ones that use vodka were the ones I didn't like, and then
Yeah.
like Topo Chico I actually enjoy. So that's probably wise because I fucking hate vodka. I think it's terrible.
Dude, I did. I mean, because like I just had the memory of it. Like when we were younger, that was always. I feel like just everyone always had vodka and warm soda, and that was like what people were drinking. But I've tried some good ones, dude. Like there's like Beluga, like it's like a $60 bottle, top shelf, like straight out of Russia, good vodka. No, it's lack of better terms, it's smooth. I guess what you look for in a clear spirit, but it's just like water.
Yeah, I've never been able to get behind it though. I think
Yeah.
there's one, not Grey Goose, but it's got a fun name. It's got like,
Guillotine?
what's up?
Is it the one I brought that we had that one time? Guillotine?
I don't think so. It's oh man, it's like on the tip of my tongue. It's got that bottle that's like the back of the bottle on the inside shows like the white trees. Belvedere.
Oh, Belvedere, yeah.
Is that right? Belvedere vodka?
Yeah, that's known to be a good vodka too.
Yeah. That because the only time I ever really consistently drank vodka and didn't hate it was Grey Goose and Belvedere.
Yeah.
So those were good ones, and I like the bottle. It's just cool.
Yeah, and dude, Grey Goose, like it's not that great, but I just remember I like anybody, you watch Oliver Francis once, and there was like 2 months where I'd be on Discord every night with you with a bottle of Grey Goose and pineapple juice.
Yeah.
That's kind of what started it. It was like the banana sake music video or something. I was like, oh, that looks so cool.
Yeah. I didn't ever drink. I haven't drank Grey Goose in like 10 years, but the only reason why I drank it is because my brother was really into it. So maybe it was kind of popular in those scenes that I wasn't really yet a part of at that age. Because I was still kind of like heavy into the, death metal only.
Oh, yeah, I remember that camp.
I think back then, not exactly around like 19, but a couple years prior to that is when I was saying like EDM wasn't real music. And now that's like 90% of what I listen to.
Dude, same here. I probably listened to drum and bass for 5 hours on the drive, but like before, yeah, EDM wasn't music. I remember specifically saying like singing is for pussies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what a Chad douche statement to make. Like of the whole of music and how wonderful and beautiful singing is, and be like, yeah, it's for pussies. It's not music if they're not yelling
Well,
or screaming.
it was just because it was edgy, and especially for me, it was like a lot of my friends at the time, like in 6th or 7th grade, I had to lie about liking All That Remains because all my friends said it sucked because they sang in it. They were like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's dumb that they sing, like that shit sucks. And I was like, oh yeah, that band's terrible. But I was like, I had 6 on repeat on my MP3 player.
I remember dude Alex I used to kick it with, the spank me guy.
Yeah.
There's more lore behind that. But he tried to show me, I think it was We Came as Romans, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's pretty sick. It's like screaming, and then the singing came on. It's like, next.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, what was this pussy shit?
This doesn't make sense. I'm so angry right now.
Dude, and I think in those days, I think of a lot of the music picks you liked at the time. I totally forgot existed. Like, I don't know who mentioned it, like a client or something, but they're saying they listened to, was it Here Comes the Kraken?
I don't know.
It was the dudes that dress up in, like, tuxes.
I
They're all in tuxedos. It was, like, super heavy.
don't know if I think I remember vaguely. I don't think I ever
Flesh
really listened
God
to them.
Apocalypse.
Yes, Flesh God Apocalypse. Dude. Okay, but that broken violin breakdown is still one of the hardest things I've ever fucking heard in my life.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how old that gets. That is sick. That it is literally like what you would hear when Davy Jones is surfacing and you're like gonna make the deal, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
I
Flesh
love
God
mood
Apocalypse.
music like that though. It's like theatric and thematic. Like
Yeah.
just even that playlist that keeps popping up on our YouTube browser on the TV, where it's like classical music to like villain listens to and he relishes in the defeat of his enemies. It's like such a specific name, and it's like this cherubic angel like smirking like that, but it's so cool.
That's probably on there because I often, like 90% of the shit I listen to is I look up like somber fantasy playlist and stuff like that, like just very specific vibes, and just listen to like the hour or 2 long playlist of that feeling. And some of them are sick as fuck, man.
So, dude, I have a question for you now. Are there certain songs or like playlists like that you attach to certain video games? Are there games where you would opt out of the original music and play something else?
Elden Ring.
Okay.
Yeah, Elden Ring is, I put on like a kind of evil sounding fantasy kind of soundtrack, you know, very big, a lot of orchestra instruments and stuff, some low drone, like kind of ambient wobbles in the background just for the kind of uneasy feeling, because the music in Elden Ring isn't bad. Why would you
displace the original music? Because not having played Elden Ring, I would imagine like it has great music to it.
It's not that great. It's very small scale. Like the music
Okay.
doesn't really come in a whole lot. It's just kind of like soft in the background. Every so often you'll get like a couple notes or a chord progression, but it doesn't really ever like cement itself in the game, you know? I was expecting it to have a lot better of a soundtrack, honestly, but my I was playing with Brett when it first came out, and I was saying like, no, I want to listen to like the actual Elden Ring soundtrack, and he was like, I'm telling you, man, it's not that great. Just put on a playlist, it'll be better. And like a couple hours in, I realized, yeah, it's very absent. Like the music is just not there. You know, I don't think it's not necessarily something they like skipped out on or forgot about. They wanted it to be that way, but I would like a little more like tension building music.
Right. No,
So I just
I can
had to
definitely
swap
see
it
that.
out.
Um, kind of a weird, interesting one is so I know for sure you'll remember this, but so prior to WoW Classic and it like when it was just considered like vanilla play that was like inaccessible for the most part. It was like very mainstream with Nostalrius, that private server.
Yeah.
By the way, I got to level 46 the week it shut down, which doesn't sound like a lot to someone who hasn't played WoW, but like, bro, how long does it take to get from 1 to 46? You know,
A long time.
with like a full work schedule, you know what I mean? Like, if you're burning it, you can get there a little quicker, but it took, some months. And the background of that, I don't know why it just fits so well, but I remember when I did a lot of grind, you have to grind in vanilla. You can't just like play through the story and do quests. Like sometimes you
Yeah.
have to kill mobs for like an hour or two each gameplay. And I was just in the forest killing wolves, but I put bones on the background. I replaced the music and I had bones playing. Around that era, this is like before he had as big of a discography as he did. It was like kind of Moth Milk was new, but it was so sick just like killing like wolves and like what were their names? It's like those kind of like mole people,
um
like the higher
mole,
level ones. They're
mole people.
yeah,
You're talking about
that
like
sound.
kobolds?
Kobolds or
Yeah.
I think
Kobolds.
kobolds, yeah.
Yeah, that's what my first thought was. They look like rats. They got the
Yeah,
like
yeah,
take candle.
yeah.
They got the candles on their heads. That's
Just like murking those things and
I played
bones, new flow.
me and Forrest played on a private server for quite a bit of time that was called Underworld back in the day.
Okay.
Like you could get to
So
level.
this is prior to Nostalrius then.
Yeah, this was like, oh man, probably like 8th grade, 9th grade, maybe even
Wow.
earlier than that. I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
they you could like get to level 280 and the whole game was just like you would start and then you would go through leveling zones where there was no quest. It was just mob farming. So you would teleport to an area and you would just kill mobs in that area until you got to the next level portion, and then you'd go to another part.
Was
And then
like altered gameplay.
yeah, severely altered. And then
Level
at the
280 was the cap.
yep, and then at the
Yeah.
end of the game, you would like the raids weren't raids; it was just like bosses you would sign up for a group for, and you got like different raid gear that wasn't actually the gear in the game. Like the rogue shoulders were actually like some tier priest shoulders. It was tier 6 priest shoulders, I think. So it actually may have been a little bit into high school, but
Okay.
they yeah, it was just mob farming all the way to 280, and we had the Simple Plan album. I can't remember which one, but it's the one with it was like the newer one at the time with like you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You know that one? We had
Yeah.
that shit on repeat the whole time we were grinding mobs, and now anytime I hear
Simple Plan.
so much as the fucking Scooby-Doo intro, I think of that private server. Because Simple Plan did one of the Scooby-Doo intros, so...
You're just fighting this malicious raid boss, and it's like Scooby Dooby Doo.
yeah. That server was pretty cool though. Once you got to 280, there was really, and you got all your gear, there was really nothing to do. So you would just like take over a castle, and we would like, I would. Forrest didn't. He got to level cap and didn't do this with me, but everybody just role played on that server.
Yeah.
So I was like a guard for a castle, and I would just stand out front of a gate and do nothing for like 4 hours at a time. But it was cool. It was a pretty cool time. I miss that server.
You know, I'm gonna run this by you because I think this would be such an excellent feature because it would be kind of like a hybridization between a classic MMORPG like that, where you have like option-based moves, but you're still, you're clicking to play. You're not like physically striking, but you still have like, no, it's not like just turn-based.
Yeah.
But taking the turn-based party element, like let's say you could like level up another character, so you have let's say 60 is the cap, a 60 warrior and a 60 priest. You could like, there's some in-game thing where it's like if you play enough and you achieve enough, you could have like that priest that's your character follow you as like an AI, kind of like an NPC, and be like on auto heals. You could kind of set like their auto commands, like where it could be like offense, conserve mana, etc., kind of like the turn-based, but it's like your character just following you. It's like happening live. I think that'd be so sick. I never really see that though.
They'd probably have to change a lot about the game to get that to be functional. Just because, like,
even an original game with that being the precedent, because I know Jim was playing EverQuest 2. There's a name for it, but like would have 2 PCs, 2 monitors, 2 characters, and
multi-boxing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
like people were doing that, but just making a more intuitive kind of.
People did that in Warcraft, yeah. But if you add it to the game, then it's going to be required. Like, there's probably not a bunch of people who want to like level 2 characters and then use one, because you're going to have to make the mobs more difficult, because if somebody does that, then they're going to have a leg up, and then does it level your character, blah blah blah. I could see them like inserting followers, but they already have that in Diablo, so they probably won't have it in something as like individual MMO based as Warcraft.
Yeah,
I want them to add. I want them to add player housing. I think it's ridiculous that it's not in the fucking game.
To me, the biggest joke was, and I haven't played in a while, so I can't speak on it too extensively, but I remember when they introduced like the guild hall.
Yeah.
Like nothing to that, or was it the guild hall or like the faction halls?
Are you thinking of garrisons?
Garrisons, yeah.
Where you basically just go there, and then you can like send followers out on missions and stuff that you have to come back and get the rewards for. It was so stupid.
It was just like a gacha game.
Yeah, it fucking sucked. That was Warlords of Draenor. That was the
yeah.
That Warlords of Draenor, Drain King.
Warlords of Draenor.
Dude, you should make a Drain Gang song and call it Warlords of Draenor.
Bro, I'm gonna do that.
That's sick as fuck, right? That's awesome.
If he's got a mount, I am excited.
Have you been on the subject of, we're recording a podcast about 2D animation? Have you been watching anything out there? I know you've probably just been kind of on the go, or maybe before.
Yeah, before I headed out, Anime's in this weird place where there's a lot of new seasons, but not a lot I was super invested in. Like the one that I like week to week is definitely Spy Family. Then Shield Hero's kind of there, where it's like been improving in the second season, but other than that, there's just burners like Please Don't Hurt Me, My Healer, Skeleton Knight. They're all kind of like mid. I think the soccer one came out you wanted to watch, no?
Yeah, I think it did. I just haven't fucking watched anything honestly. Like, I've watched Arcane. I started rewatching Castlevania, and then literally like the day after watching a couple episodes of Castlevania, Forrest told me that I guess they're making a new season with
really?
Richard Richter Belmont.
Yeah.
So there's going to be new Castlevania, but that got me kind of excited too. So I started watching the Dota animated show, which isn't.
What?
Yeah, I feel like it's not
How old is
as
that?
good. It's pretty old. I mean, I've been seeing it for a bit, but I mean, I can look it up real quick. Dota show. Oh, 2021.
Well, explain that to me, like, because I hear it all the time, and I know isn't like League of Legends and like Warcraft kind of loosely based off of it, like the gameplay style.
What, Dota?
Yeah.
Dota is originally from Warcraft 3.
Okay.
There was a game mode, multiplayer game mode, because you could like make custom maps and stuff with Warcraft editor. And there was a game mode that was called Defenders of the Alliance. And you would start off, you would pick heroes, you could buy gear and stuff, and you would try to it was like a tower defense, like waves of mobs would spawn down lanes, and you would try to survive with your team. And they progressively made it into different game modes. Eventually you could verse each other and shit like that. So League of Legends got the idea from that and said, let's make this our own game. Did that, and then Dota 2 came out, because I don't think there is an original Dota. The original Dota is a Warcraft 3 custom game.
Okay, because I was always wondering. I'd hear it thrown around, but I didn't know if it was its own game or like
it is
what the
now.
acronym stood for. Okay.
Yeah, it is now, because they have Dota 2, and now obviously they have shows and stuff. So I hope it's the same people who made the game back in the day. That'd be cool for them.
What's the difference between Dota 2 and like Heroes of the Storm? Because wasn't that Blizzard's like answer to League?
Yeah, like way after the fact, in a much more simplified, dumbed down version. It was just like they threw it together, like you could play the new updated characters of Warcraft in a MOBA style game, which I played for a while. It was pretty fun, but it's just super simple. It's, you don't have to like combine items to make more items and shit like that.
Is Dota 2 still through Blizzard or Warcraft?
No, it's its own thing.
Huh.
So it's got its whole own characters and shit. It has nothing to do with Warcraft anymore.
You played it, or?
I played it when it first came out a couple times, but I'm not a huge MOBA guy, so I didn't really care. And especially because like the only reason why I played Dota in Warcraft 3 when I was a kid was because I liked Warcraft. So being able to pick like Warcraft heroes and stuff was fun. I didn't really care for the game type itself.
I'd only played so it was Warcraft 3. I've only played once in my life, but I remember how much fun it was when we were staying at Jeff's grandparents for like that month and a half.
Yeah.
They were out kind of going around the world, and we were watching the place with them, but we would do like local play. So it wasn't even like online. We were all sitting there in the same room.
LAN parties.
Through the like old PCs or, the laptops at the time. And like, it's kind of cool to do that. Like, live that a bit,
LAN parties, man. Those were some of my favorite times. Of you just, a bunch of people, well, not a bunch of people, but your friends get together and you got like 3 or 4 computers, a couple laptops, and you all sit down and grind World of Warcraft or like play some Warcraft 3. Like, that shit was cool.
Yeah, because I mean, dude, I remember that was kind of like the middle school. Like, if I was going to hang out after school, it wasn't like to go to the movies or anything. I'd literally bring my laptop over, meet up with 3 of my other friends that had their laptops, or the buddy, it was his house, like his mom's PC or whatever. We'd all like sit on the floor, and he'd just be in the chair in the PC. We're all just playing Warcraft.
Yeah.
Just be like, "Oh, bro, can you help me with this?"
That's kind of what my mom's house was, because we had, I think, 3 computers. So if nobody else was playing, I could invite 2 friends over and I could play on my computer, and then I could set them up on like my brother's and my dad's computer. And we would just sit there and play all night.
Bro, yeah, even let's say like your dad's place when I came over, and I just remember just going upstairs and like just the battle station, bro. Like having all those PCs like in a row. How many did you
Yeah,
have upstairs? Like
I,
3 or
I think 5.
5?
So there was 2 actual computers, cause yeah, 2 actual computers and then 3 like kind of not as good computers, but you could still play like the games that we were playing at the time on them. They were just like
Yeah.
the small box, like something you'd use for a server. Because my dad just had a bunch of stuff from his job that he had took a bunch of like office computers, and we just, back then, I mean, Warcraft played okay on them.
Yeah, and dude, it was just cool because I remember, like, yeah, your brother was there, your dad, brother to have his friends over, but like all those PCs had somebody sitting at it, and then you had that big like TV screen. I just
Yeah,
remember it was like a moment in time that stuck with me. That was special. Is just we were watching Inuyasha like on the TV. There were people on the PCs playing Warcraft, and then you brought out that little like I don't know what it was. Is it the same mix board we're using? It was like you would play guitar directly into it.
that was the Tascam.
Cascade, yeah, you had that thing, and you were like making riffs on it, and that was just
It's like a Tascam 32 track or something. Back,
such a cool
like you
place and
actually
time.
had to click the buttons to like engage tracks and stuff. I'm glad I got that experience when I did.
Yeah,
Yeah, that shit was cool, man. Thinking back on it, yeah. And oh man, we 100% Super Mario Wii. You could have a couple people playing Warcraft behind you, and then like 4 more people just playing Super Mario. You have people in the room recording music. Like that upstairs loft area was a fucking dream.
I hope we could kind of get a taste of that and accomplish that when we get to the new place.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely want to set up some stuff. That's a well, I mean, like eventually we'll have the computers and stuff. That's what I'm saying is like we can have somebody come over, and if they want to stream or something, or if they want to play a game, like we can get them set up. And just like, yeah, just sit down
Yeah.
here. We'll just install the game over here, and then you can play with us. You don't even got to go home. We can
So
occasionally
is
meet up in the front room.
our original, so my old PC, is that done so, or you think we could salvage that?
We could probably salvage it. I just have to figure out why it won't boot. I mean, it could be as simple as like reinstalling Windows, but
Yeah.
we'll just have to run some tests on it. Because it doesn't have a graphics card or anything in it, so that's another thing.
I was thinking we could even probably pick up just like a little 150 or something to throw in it. You get them
Yeah,
pretty cheap on the secondhand market.
eventually. I don't think we need it currently, but we'll definitely keep the
No,
part.
no.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like I never resell stuff. I'll just keep this off to the side because we'll eventually, when we're like, okay, yeah, let's get another PC. We already have like half the makings of one right there.
It's just fun to me. I kind of like seeing the like history of like this was the first one, second one, third one, and seeing them all like generations next to each other. Yeah, that's just like a PC nerd thing for us. I'm sure most people are like, "Why are you holding on to that?" But it kind of like hard letting go of the sentiment too of like time and place you were in life when you were on that PC build.
Yeah. I mean, we both have sentiment with that computer. I mean,
That's why I'm saying it's like really special to me.
that's when I started playing For Honor. That's where I started playing PUBG. It became my music PC, which, like, when I actually got serious about trying to not make dog shit music, that's where I started on.
Yeah.
Like, that was that PC. It came with me in a lot of places. And I was glad I could use it up until the very end, but and it's
That's
probably
what we
easily
started the
fixable.
podcast on.
Yeah. It's
It was.
It's probably an easy fix too, because it's not like it doesn't turn on, it just doesn't boot. So
Yeah.
it's not the computer that's broken, it's my hard drive that's broken.
Okay. I mean, shoot, that was the first kind of the foray that got me into like PC gaming was that PC. I had a laptop in middle school. I
Yeah.
never had like a desktop. It was pretty sick though. Gramps got, rest in peace, Gramps, but like he got me this old, it was a Toshiba. It was like a gaming laptop at the time. It was like, those fat laptops.
Yeah.
Like the big thing about it, it had 4 speakers, and it was like this just beefcake 17-inch Toshiba. I remember it had Windows 7 on it, which was new at the time. And I would just play WoW on that. I was like, man, this thing is sick. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be like my school homework computer, but I just gamed on that thing.
Oh yeah, I had a thick boy Toshiba as well around like
Yeah,
the middle school era, and I just remember like sitting in the living room watching sitcoms with my family, and also like playing Warcraft because they
yeah.
were like, "You should come spend time with the family." So I'd just grab the laptop and be like, "Okay, go sit in the living room and keep grinding."
No, and I'm almost finding myself circling back because for a long time I was like, oh, there's no point in a laptop because like you could do everything much better, much cheaper with a desktop PC setup, which is true. There's times like this, like if I wasn't able to even borrow this MacBook, this wouldn't be possible. You know, I think of all the times I'd love to like remotely work on a project or like game or something would be cool. Not to have a high end, but just like a burner laptop, something that works. You know,
Yeah. I think my biggest problem is with laptops is like you'll get it and it'll work, but only for a short amount of time, and the price to like longevity of just because I don't know, I fucking hate it. You know, it'll function, but if it takes 3 to 5 minutes to load a web page, and I've tried reinstalling Windows and doing all this shit to it, and it just still doesn't work. Like you gotta, I think laptops you have to spend more money if you want more length. You know, that's where the price comes
right?
into play. Like you don't necessarily get the best of the best, but you're getting something that'll at least last worthy of the price you spent on it. Because you can spend like, you know, $1,500-ish on a computer, and that should last you years. You spend $1,500 on a laptop, and I mean, maybe it gets you through 2 years before you start running into severe problems that you just can't work around.
Right. I will say that's one benefit to Mac and like Apple architecture is I remember when I was going to college and studying, graphic design at MIT, one of my professors for the design course, um, it had to be 2016, 2017. He said his original iMac was that year it received its last update. It was still working, but he knew it was a time bomb where it wouldn't take another update after that. You could
Yeah.
only use it like remote, or I mean, not remote, but not connected. But it was a 1980 MacBook, like 80 something.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean,
it was
it
still
was.
kicking.
I think it was the same with the older laptops because those would last longer. But now it just, you know, just in my experience, any newer laptop that I've had or that I've used, like 90% of the people that I just randomly run into and like they're like, oh yeah, I've owned this laptop for a year and I'm having problems with it. Can you take a look at it? I'm like, I mean, yeah, I can, but I can tell you already what the problem is it's a laptop.
Right. I think the only thing kind of defensible about laptops, and exactly you said, like you'll get more out of it, but you have to spend a lot of money more than you ever would on a desktop. Because anytime I had a laptop, bro, it was like besides that Toshiba, it's usually like an Acer or like most spent would be 500, which really is nothing for a laptop.
Yeah.
I think if you're one of those guys that just has a disposable income and you're getting that beefcake dedicated like an Asus like Zephyrus or something with like a 3090 and this
Yeah.
RAM and shit crammed into it, it's in a cooling system. It's probably a performer that'll last some time, but of how much you have to drop into that to
Yeah.
achieve it.
Well, that's the thing though, is like you can get a laptop for pretty cheap, but just anytime somebody talks to me about it is like what they want to use the computer for, they're not going to get out of a laptop for very long. They want something more reliable and powerful. I'm like, you can get a cheap laptop if you're just looking for the portability, you know?
Yeah.
But if you're going to be, you know, if somebody was like, yeah, I really want to get into playing Apex Legends, they probably don't want a laptop. It's probably possible, but
Right.
it's the same thing as like you got to spend more money, and then after a year or two, you got to look into like maybe getting a new laptop.
It's
Unless
like
I just
if you
don't
have
know
remote
how.
work or you're doing traditional tasks like browsing, typing something up, like photo editing, light gaming, and I mean like light, like you're playing an old game architecture or you're playing like Stardew or something. totally makes sense. But like other than that, yeah, you're not gonna want to like AAA on a laptop, which a lot can, but I mean they're like $4 grand.
Yeah.
Get something that's like a super high performer.
I mean, back when I got this laptop, more like closer to the time I actually got it, like I took it on a plane and I was playing Ori. You know, that game with the little like light spirit animal that's like the side scroller.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I played that on a plane just fine, but a year later I tried to play the same game and it doesn't even launch. That's why I just don't understand what happens to my... Maybe it's just me. I just don't understand what happens to my laptops that makes them unusable after a year.
You know, the thing is too, I wish I had the foresight, or at least the understanding I do now that, laptops are very finite. Like I have a lot of pictures and like music and stuff saved. Or once the laptop's done, it's like I didn't have the means to tap into a hard drive when I was, 17, or at
Yeah.
least I didn't look into it where it's like, I wish I would have kept an external, like a backup, just before having like, easy access to like a cloud space where I could keep it and port it to the next laptop. Because most of the pictures and shit I took in high school are like, poems I wrote or songs are all on old laptops that are probably in the trash heap now.
Yeah. I mean, that's 90% of my shit too, but I've never really like been upset for losing them. If anything, I'm glad that they're kind of gone from the greater existence of the world.
I get that. I think it's just the sense of like personal archiving where I like to be able to look on those parts of life for inspiration now and just like see it like privately, not display it, but be like, oh yeah, I made this then, and I was going.
Well, I mean,
this.
that's why, I've had a lot of hard drives die on me in my life, but they're all in my closet. I've never gotten rid of a hard drive. Because just because the hard drive is dead doesn't mean you can't get the information off of it. I would just have to like take it to a data recovery specialist or something. They would have to go pull all the shit off for me, but I'll probably never do that. But they are there. So my entire digital life is kind of archived on these drives that don't really function anymore. And you can do the same with like a couple of them, are laptop drives. You can just get a little like SATA USB, plug it into a computer, and boop, 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 boop. You got all your files right there.
Yeah. Just even on the matter of just archiving in general, I wish I just had I didn't have the discipline at the time to really. I feel like you were good with that, with like a lot of things, from back in the day. I wish I still had like my PS2 and my Dreamcast and my N64. Like I never sold them. I don't know what happened to any of it. And I wish I had it all kind of like, if I had everything, protected and in a box where I could like open it now and kind of set them next to each other. And because I know like, yeah, I could get another one, but it's not the same as looking at the one you played when you're 4 or 5 years old,
Yeah, I got a couple of those things, but I mean, a lot of them I either like gave away to people just like on a whim, or they ended up somewhere that I no longer know where they're at.
For me, I wish I had all my Pokemon save files. Just like, even though I don't play a whole lot anymore, but just to be able to do like the cable and try to like bring ones from the oldest games to the most current possible. Like there's people on YouTube that really find ways to like get like oldest onto like newer gaming, and I'm like, that's pretty cool to be like, that's the fucking dude you caught in like 1999, you still have it. Like,
I mean, that's my bank on retail on Warcraft. I've got stuff from like 2007 in there.
really?
And I can just go back and be like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
It's like the memories, it's like a digital photo album of just like items and things you had in a game. Especially if it's a game you like sank a lot of time into. Like it's like a little memorabilia.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. It's tough, but we can't go back and get those things, unfortunately.
Can't go back. We could just, keep it in mind from now on,
Yeah, try to keep as much as humanly possible.
and even though it's like you could buy it back, and before that was just like, man, I don't know how I would do that. But now being like a working adult, I'm like, I could totally get that copy of that obscure game I had on GameCube and get it off of eBay. Yeah, it's $60, but if I really wanted to, I could, kind of thing, For back then, you lost it. It was like done. You're like,
Yeah.
that's it. Never again.
Well, that's, I mean, like, have you seen, I don't know what the current value's priced at. I'd imagine it's still the same, but, like, have you seen what a copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the GameCube sells for?
Oh,
Hundreds of dollars.
really?
Yeah. Because they don't make GameCube copies of the game anymore. I've seen a couple at Zia for, like, 280. I think I saw one for, like, a little over 200. But...
Wow.
they just...
those are like open played ones, right?
Yeah. Well, there's no brand new... well, I mean, brand new ones go for a lot.
A lot. I was going to say, like, I've even seen copies of, like, the original, the box, including the game of, like, Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, but still in cellophane, and they'll, like, PSA grade it. And it's, like, in this plastic capsule with the grading, and those are going for money.
Yep. Collectors out there have definitely done right. I wish I did any of that when I was a kid, but, I was a child. So,
yeah.
When I got something, I ripped it open, tore it to shreds, and then played it for 2 days and got bored.
You know what you should do, just for the heck of it? Take your desktop chair, send it a PSA grading. Like, this is my valuable archive gaming chair. You get that giant plastic box with the grading. Just keep it in the back. Be like, yeah.
My $100 gaming chair that saw like 3 years of use before it was even hand-me-downed to me. It's like, yep, PSA 0.1. All right, put it in the box. Put it in a box. It's going on display.
It would be fucking funny. It's PSA grade, but they just put skulls.
Yeah.
Level unidentified.
Yeah, it's been around long enough that it should at least be a high level. May not be in the best condition, but it knows what it's doing,
It's like a level 100 magic card, bro. Like,
yeah.
Take what you will,
I don't need to evolve. It's fine. It does what she needs to do.
Yeah.
She good. I actually hate this fucking chair. It's just not comfortable.
Like at one point in time, maybe you will be able to PSA grade like the Herman Millers, Like people will just have the chair in box with the grading.
Right. That'd be crazy.
Dude,
I mean, I wish.
One thing I wanted to touch on, speaking of like things being inaccessible and it's like grading, it's like, when Twinkies went out, there was a craze where people are selling them on eBay and stuff.
Yeah.
And they came back. Now there's a shortage for sriracha. Have you seen that?
No.
So if you go to the store, the shelf, they're all bare, dude, because I guess they had an issue with the harvest this year and just with everything going on with
supply chain issues.
Yeah, exactly. There's not going to be batches for like months and months, so people have like been buying and selling sriracha on the secondhand market.
Jesus Christ, dude!
If you go I've had, because I have the inside info, where Mia works, like they can't give out extra sriracha anymore. Someone's like, "Oh, can I get like a cup to go?" They're like, "No, sorry. Can I pay for one?" Nope. It's like being conserved to the last drop. They're like stretching it places, like even the Korean barbecue. It's like they would give you. You're like, "Oh, can I get some like Korean chili?" And they'd give you the bottle, and it was like practically empty. And you're like, "Oh, can I get a little more?" And they're like, "All right, it's all we have."
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff like that. Like I've just even been noticing. Like I went to buy a new vape, and I went to 3 vape stores, and they had like 3 options for vape mods.
Really?
Yeah, and all of them said they were like, "Yeah, we haven't been able to order anything." And I was like, "Yeah, it seems to be everybody because I've been to 3 places and there's nothing." And like at QT, there's just everything has been in low stock and low supply.
Oh, I know there was like an aluminum cans shortage for a
Jesus
while at the
Christ.
liquor store out here. They couldn't get certain drinks, you know.
There's a baby formula shortage. There's a sriracha shortage. There's styrofoam styrofoam shortage. Like, there's so many shortages right now. It's fucking. Well, I mean, I think.
I'm back, buddy.
All right, there we go.
So, in news, while I was sitting on the toilet, I realized I believe there was actually an account security breach or an information leak on SoundCloud where something happened. So like, it was like 4 a.m. or something. Someone tried to log into my Google account, got notified, so I changed all my passwords.
Yeah.
You should check that as well. I don't know if you received that same thing.
For Google?
I think like SoundCloud like got out or something. It was saying that was the one that was compromised.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So you have 3 to look at.
Was it like a notification of SoundCloud in general, or just your account?
Just my account, and then I looked through Google on it's like your kind of account security check. I was saying like which ones you can make stronger passwords, etc., etc.
Yeah.
It was saying Google, or because it was saying there was a security breach on some site containing my email and password, and it was saying SoundCloud was the only critical one. So I'm assuming like they had an issue.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I get 2-factor on most of my shit, and it kind of all runs through one account. But yeah, I'll probably go through, and I need to anyways, because since I've been using this new browser, it doesn't have any password saved, so I've been having to go back and look. So I think I might just go through. It's time for a password change for me anyways, so
Yeah.
I'll get that done tonight. That's probably for the best. I had one thing just to bring up that was kind of like a funny joke I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And then just kind of like one towards the end thing I wanted to mention and talk about. But first, just going off of the joke, it's super sick. How much did you pay for this hotel room?
$240.
Damn, that's a great deal for getting an ocean view, man.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's great.
That was it. Do you actually want to make the pairing for today liquid death and just remind everybody 18 episodes in of drinking to stay hydrated?
Yeah, I think that's pretty keen because yeah, there's no way in hell I'm drinking today. I mean, you're ahead of me right there, but
yeah, well, I figured one of us has got to.
If you want to look like you have the swagger of somebody that drinks alcohol, but you're not sure you want to drink alcohol or even try it, pick up a Liquid Death to convince your friends and family that you're drinking something that only 21 and up can drink in the continental U.S. But except this water, and this happens to be the Mango Chainsaw. So it's a sparkling mango beverage. It tastes like a Topo Chico without
that's
the
flavored?
Yeah, this is the Mango Chainsaw.
I didn't know they made flavored Liquid Deaths.
Yeah, it's like drinking a non-alcoholic, like a virgin Topo Chico. It's pretty good, even though Topo Chico does make just normal
I was going to say, because anytime I bring up Topo Chico to someone, they're like the sparkling water? I'm like, I didn't know that they made non-alcoholic ones.
Yeah, so you're not going to grab my attention unless there's booze in it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've been around for 300 years, and I didn't have a damn clue until you put a little alcohol in it.
Pretty much. Well, I mean, any other things you want to touch on just as we kind of like near the end here? Any quick things to bring up or?
So there was, we're not going to touch on that, but I will not give my opinion on it, but I know with AX, it's kind of, there's like two camps right now with how they've been running things. So that's something I recommend for anyone listening to go research on their own. But I want to personally touch on it because it's like political and all that stuff.
Can you give me just some like world building? What are you talking about?
Yeah. So with AX, essentially, this was the first year we talked about this in a previous episode that um, they weren't going to require proof of vaccination or test, so you just go masked. And a lot of people were not okay with that, so they kind of took it to Twitter. Shit storm ensued, and literally a day later, they actually rescinded what they said, and they're like, "No, we're going to need tests this time." But that's an issue for a lot of people because the last year where they did require test and proof, it was like 7 hours to get in if you're back in the line, So
Yeah.
I know that's kind of a complaint for some people. Some people are happy with it, but yeah, I could give the context there, but I'm not going to give my opinion on that. But
Yeah.
just that's kind of a mess right
I
now.
just wanted to
Something
know what
look
was
into.
going on because I didn't.
Oh yeah.
I remember we talked about it now, but yeah, it's just something to look into, I guess, for anybody who's interested in going to AX. Is do your
Exactly.
research and do whatever's comfortable for you. At the end of the day, if you're not comfortable with
Absolutely,
it,
yeah.
then don't go. But I mean, obviously the Twitter has done what they do. So
Yeah, that's just that's a Twitter thing. We're all familiar with how Twitter works now, but I will say other news, just kind of keeping up to date on all conventions. Any Arizona convention or a lot of kind of smaller stateside ones are a little easier access. You're not going to wait in a line for hours and hours to get in. So I think that's just kind of for the big dogs like Comic Con and AX are going to be a little challenging.
which makes a little more sense just with everything that's going on. Like the bigger ones, I understand the happening for, but these more small scale local ones, I can see them kind of like having some leniency and everything. So we'll just have to kind of like keep up with that and see what goes on. But I mean, if there's nothing else, we can kind of start to outro and wind off here. But I don't know how to approach it. I guess just appreciation, thanks for making it happen. I know we were trying to get a little better of a setup. I know I can't compare to the quality that you're bringing to this podcast right now, but I was glad that we were able to still make something happen and get together, because the concept of like me trying to do it on my own, I was thinking of like if I could get somebody else to come on and like sub in co-host, and I just couldn't think of anybody other than Bryce, and I was like, we've already done that.
Yeah, and
So
I think it was a good step. I appreciate anybody kind of following the journey and the fact that it's like making it happen. Even if things aren't ideal, it's like I'm just glad to say that we stuck it out and we did it.
Yeah, I definitely think that sets this.
So
I definitely think that sets the standard of like, even if something comes up, like we can still kind of find a way to get something out. This was just a simple conversation. We didn't really have too much going into it. We didn't really like have a theme or a topic or anything, with kind of just the way the last couple days have gone, just with the snap decision and quickness of this all happening. I was glad that we could throw this together and actually just sit down for an hour and just have a quick chat. But
yeah,
I mean, other than that, I got nothing left. So I mean, I'll leave you alone for the next couple days. Don't worry about a thumbnail or anything for this one. I'll get it taken care of just so you can focus on getting back and relaxing before you go back to work and stuff like that.
I really appreciate it. Seriously, yeah. And,
I'll get that taken care of. But I mean, yeah, like I said, I'll leave you alone. So drive safe back. Let me know when you're headed back here.
Oh yeah, and you'll probably hear from me. I'll send you memes and stuff. So thank you again, as always. Episode 18. We call it 17 and a half. Whatever. A lot of fun. Peace out.
Bye.